Hello, my name is Austin Shadle, and today I'm going to talk about things you should do in your first year of college. The topics I've come up with today are based off a reflection on my experience through college, the things that I think I did well, and things I wish I would have done. I went to Iowa State University, and I have a degree in mechanical engineering. The first topic I want to talk about today is people, and this is the one that I think I wish I would have done more with, especially my first year of college. Now, for this subject in particular, what you want to do is really push your social comfort level. And it's not easy, especially if you're somebody like me or maybe a little more on the introverted side. And especially going to college is a huge difference from high school. You're likely, living on your own with just a roommate. Campus is huge. There's suddenly literally 10 times, probably even more people around you studying many different things, and it's definitely intimidating, especially if you're in a difficult degree or something that's just really going to push you mentally, going to take up a lot of your time, but you're not going to regret really putting in some time to get out and meet people. Especially if you're in a dorm your first year, get around your floor. If there's a group of people, just say hi, try to make your way into the conversation. Everybody else is in a similar boat to you. This is the subject that I really wish I would have done more with my first year. It just so happened that I was dating a girl from high school who was going to college in a town less than an hour away, back home actually, for me. So what I ended up doing was spending my entire week studying, working really hard, got everything done before the weekend, and then I'd go home to spend the weekends with her. Eventually, as it happens, relationship fell apart, and a couple years into college, I found myself, you know, not having that support structure that I had from the relationship, and feeling really alone, trying to make it through college. Engineering, definitely a difficult degree. Not having a friend group or people to study with really made it difficult. Just felt really lonely going throughout it, and that's what I'm hoping. If you're listening to this and you haven't started college yet, you really do get out, try to find people to talk to. One thing that I did even after taking a test, a really hard test, there were people sitting out in the hall talking about the test. I didn't even know them. And, realistically, I just wanted to get home and try to forget about it. But I started talking to them, and I didn't feel good about the test. But then I realized everybody around me didn't feel good about it either. And that just really helped me not feel alone, knowing that I'm not the only one that struggled to get through it. Again, I want to say this isn't easy, but it is definitely something you'll thank yourself for. I know it's not comfortable to push that social bubble, but it really goes a long way. Having some new friends, people to share the experience and fight battles with throughout college. College can be a very difficult experience. So, one more thing to go along with the people category is you need to still be very critical of the people you surround yourself with. Now, there might be some people that are really easy to get along with, but you'll find maybe they're kind of more party animal type, just want to have fun. And, if you're really serious about your major, something like engineering, that can be a bad thing. You might have that group, you don't feel alone, but they might really be holding you back from meeting your full potential and the thing that's ultimately going to build your career, make you the money you need, and accomplish your goals with. So when you're going through meeting people, have some fun. Really try to meet as many as you can, but be critical with the people you choose to keep around you, and because that it really does make a difference. If you find like-minded people that push themselves hard, eventually what you can find is if you're studying with other like-minded people that are really trying hard, you can do it more efficiently, get it done, do better on the test, and then have more time actually to enjoy yourself. So it's really a win-win, and it's not easy like I said, but if you can find that group that really mixes well with you, that you can study with, you're going to have a lot better time just in general in college, and even your grades could benefit a lot. Now, a pretty similar topic to people is activities. College is definitely full of a lot of events and stuff to go to. Another thing that I wish I would have taken more advantage of. Now, there is the fun social events and whatnot. That's definitely a good one to meet people, but the one I really want to focus on is joining a club. Now, Iowa State, for example, I think they technically have like over 800 clubs. It's insane, every subject imaginable. But that's the really key social function that can also really advance your progress both in school and even your career. So, it might be obvious, some maybe not. Go on your school website, check out the list of clubs. Often there's a club fair where you can walk around, meet some people in it. And what I challenge you to do is actually try a bunch of them. There is going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot you want to try. And I challenge you to make some time to really try a bunch of them. There might be one that seems really obvious to you, and it might actually not work out. It really depends on the people already in the club, how they operate. In my experience, I joined an engineering club that was based off of off-road racing, and to me, just all of that sounded like exactly what I was looking for, and unfortunately, the people that were in the club, the way they ran it, it just created a toxic atmosphere, and I unfortunately kept trying. My first couple years, like I said before, spent my weekends with the girlfriend. I was kind of in and out of the club, and then once I had more time, I tried to jump into it. Spending more time in it, I found that it had a really corrosive atmosphere, and eventually, I just wasted a bunch of time with it, and it's maybe a bit of a regret I have. But that's why I said try a whole bunch of clubs. Don't just really stick with that one. Be critical, again, not only of the people, but the activities, the club you're trying to get into. Another thing with clubs, though, on top of making friends and, potentially finding a group to help you get through college, there's a lot of other benefits to it. Even if you're in a fun club like, Pokemon card trading club, something like that, or in my case, I did the triathlon club for a couple years, not engineering related, but if you do happen to find yourself in one of the leadership, chair, whatever they call it, positions, president of a club, even if it's not related to engineering, that's actually a really big thing to have on a resume. Employers really like that, especially if you're looking for internships, which I'd almost argue is harder to find than a job. Not having real life experience, but that club experience can go a long way. On the other side of things, if you are in a club related to your major, so for me, that engineering club, when we went to competitions, there were literally employers with booths there that you could talk to, maybe turn your resume in. Your club might have sponsors. That's another way to meet potential employers, and it really is one of the best ways to get an internship or a job. So ultimately, what I would say with clubs is be critical of the people, and I would try to find at least two. One that you just enjoy, fun, something more on the stress relieving side, and then try to find one that actually pertains to your major, builds experience, gives you potential leadership opportunities, and one that really could make that first step in your career. The easier you can make it to find a job, a lot less stress is going to be on your plate, especially later on in college. Speaking of later on in college, this brings me to the third subject, habits. Now, your first year, this I think can really make or break your college career and set yourself up for much more success as you go down the road. The first thing I would say, especially if you're in a degree like engineering, is don't take your classwork lightly. A lot of people, they get to college, they're like, ooh, they have this newfound freedom. They're not super restricted on when they have to be in class, be in school, and it's easy for them to, go party, take too much advantage of what they feel like is free time. I just really want to stress taking your studies very seriously that first year. You want to have time to relieve stress and have some fun. It's going to set you up much better in the long term and even in the short term. You hear so many stories about people partying too much their first semester or even their first year, and they can't recover that GPA. They feel like they've totally failed, and next thing you know, they're back to working at Target or something, even though they had these much bigger goals that could have made them a lot more money. And a lot of times it just boils down to that little bit of discipline they could have used that first year of college. Now, beyond classwork, there's also a lot of other good habits that I suggest really taking to heart your first year. For me, one that I found was walking everywhere. Iowa State is, I don't know, maybe I'd say a medium sized campus. At the longest, I'd have a 15-minute walk to class, and it seems time consuming, but I'd say there are a lot of benefits to this. Number one, it's exercise, and that just has a whole lot of benefits on its own. You always hear about the freshman 15, and I would honestly say that me walking everywhere on top of my usual walking out is what caused me not to put on a freshman 15. And when I say walk anywhere, I also mean at any time. I even walked out throughout the winter. Yes, it's Iowa, it gets super cold, a lot of snow. I pretty much never took a bus to get across campus. Honestly, I think that did help me succeed. Like I said, exercising, always good, getting that blood flowing. I think it kind of helped with discipline. Maybe if I went all the way to the library through the cold, I'd like to think, hey, I'm going to make more of it because I went through all that effort to get there. But also, I think it gives you the perfect amount of time to kind of reset, clear your head. Big thing I like to do is get audiobooks, listen to podcasts, something that just kind of help mix up, what your mind's going through. You can't just think about school all day, every day. Let your brain wander a little, reset, and that can go a long way with your just mental capacity for studying. But I would push you, even if the weather's not great, still take the time to walk to class. I'd even argue, especially in the winter, it's almost faster because of how many people are going to be on the bus. But enough of that. That's one thing I'll always preach to people is just walk to class. Another good one is really understanding the food you're eating. That's a problem a lot of people have is they don't really understand food. And I'm not saying you have to be a scientist about it or look in super deeply, but one thing, especially if you're in the dorm and you're eating at dining centers, something that's all you can eat, it's really easy to just eat too much bad food, and you might not even know some of it's actually bad. So I would push yourself to look up some nutrition videos, get an idea of what macros are and how many you should eat. That's something I think you'll also thank yourself for. Nobody wants to go to college. Maybe, looking for a significant other. You want to feel good about yourself. You already feel insecure with all the people around. The last thing you want to do is put on 10, 15, even 20 pounds that first year like a lot of people do. And a big part of that is those dining centers. Sometimes it can be a lot of really good food that's really not good for you. Now, the last good habit I want to talk about, I would argue, is by far the most important, and luckily one that I picked up sooner rather than later. And that is, do not hesitate to get help. College is difficult, and you may find yourself getting quickly overwhelmed, and that's okay. It happens to a lot of people, and there's a lot of resources that can help with that. For me, I was good at math in school, but I wasn't one of those geniuses that just naturally picked it up really fast. And I found out very quickly that calculus was something that I did not just naturally pick up quickly. And throughout my whole career was something I had to put a lot of work into. And even the first semester, I found myself getting a tutor for that class. And I had a math tutor for every major math class after that. And that's okay. You may have that one class that just that next level is really something else. If you find yourself in something like engineering, maybe you were really good at math in high school, But there are things like calculus that next step is a very large step, and you probably are capable of it, but you might need that extra little help, and that's the thing that you cannot hesitate to go find. If you find yourself struggling, you want to be able to get that help, get ahead on things before you find yourself failing a class, having to drop credits. That can just lead to a whole mess of things. And there are a lot of other resources you can get help from, whether that's if you need help organizing, as college really throws everything on you. Teachers are just going to tell you what to do, and you got to figure out oftentimes how to do it, when to do it, where. It gets overwhelming fast, just like almost everything else in college. And there are people, centers that can help you with that. Don't hesitate. Go find some help. Go to a success center on campus. Get a tutor if you need it. It's really going to pay off in the long run, and there's a lot of other people doing it too. Don't feel bad. For me, honestly, it was a big hit to my ego having made it through and doing well in advanced math classes in high school, having to get that tutor almost right off the bat. Getting that help is going to lead to better grades, a lot less stress, and it's just going to all add up to making it easier to find jobs, internships, get things done faster with schoolwork so you can go have fun, take advantage of those activities, meet people, partake in those good habits. It's going to be a hit to your ego. I understand that. I had to go through it, but I'm very glad that I went and I got help when I needed it. First, it was for math, and later on, my mental health really hit the tank when my relationship with the girlfriend fell apart. I was feeling very alone, battling a lot of depression problems. I went to the RN on campus at the health center, got the help I needed, and it really made a big difference. It helped me from almost failing multiple classes one semester and ultimately finishing my college career strong. I had 4 different internships and a job offer that I accepted at the beginning of my senior year. So I encourage you to help yourself succeed by following some of these tips, really focusing on meeting people, finding a good group that first year of college, exploring all the activities that there is to offer. It goes a long way in creating opportunity, relieving stress, just really enjoying your experience, and then really focus on starting early with good habits. It's going to pay off a lot more in the long run. You're going to have a lot more success, and you're really going to thank yourself. I hope you liked the video. Be sure to check out my website, shadyengineering.com. I'll be posting more information, tips, and tricks on there. And if you're a new college student or really anybody looking to chase their goals, check out the services I provide. I would love to help you chase your dreams.